Welcome back. Thank you for watching. This is my hopeforbraden.org series where I'm walking you through the hopeforbraden.org website and taking you through it the way that I designed it and just reading everything that's on there the way that it's meant to be read. And so now you don't even have to click through it. You can just watch the videos. The YouTube hopeforbraden.org. Yay! Whoa, let's get to it. Title says, Braden was becoming autistic. When I realized what was happening to Braden, I immersed myself in everything autism. All I wanted was to educate myself about autism. At every turn, I found hopelessness. I was told to accept that my son would never get better and I would ultimately have to institutionalize him. I was told there is no cause and no cure. I was told to prepare for the worst. I couldn't believe that this was true. My very bright, loving, affectionate baby boy was going to be a patient at a mental institution? I researched and read every autism-related body of work available. I read the books by Temple Grandin, An Adult with Autism. I read the studies of Dr. Bernard Rimland and Dr. Stephen Eelson, stories that families submitted to various websites, and I stayed up to date with the latest research. My thirst for knowledge about autism was and remains unquenchable. One night, while I researched for a public speaking assignment, I found Generation Rescue. They talked about causes and even treatments. This was unfounded at the time. I had to change the topic of my public speaking project from no cause and no cure to causes and treatments. Braden was 4 when I found Generation Rescue. They talked about causes, treatments, and they talked about things that I'd never even heard about. Braden had many symptoms that children with autism deal with on a daily basis. He was not potty trained, he would only eat 3 types of food, and he never slept. Braden would jump on his bed for hours. He used to jump so violently on his bed that he actually busted the seams. He would sleep for 2 hours and bounce off the walls for the remaining 22 hours in the day. He often battled diaper rash, which I later realized were yeast infections, which a lot of children with autism have. These infections became so bad they would rupture his skin and it would bleed. He would just scream. Bathing, creams, ointments, and allowing him to run around naked brought no relief. He was absolutely suffering both inside and out. Braden contracted salmonella poisoning and was hospitalized for a week. Realizing the frailty of Braden's immune system, I removed meat from his diet. He was only eating chicken at that point anyway, so I decided to replace his protein with soy and microprotein products. He transitioned well. I spent many hours awake while Braden jumped on his bed or twirled his toys in a relentless spinning stem. Stems are self-stimulatory behaviors that most children with autism display in one form or another. Most people with autism. Some will rock themselves, flap their hands, or spin themselves or objects. There are verbal and visual stems as well. Verbal stems can be repeating the lines of a movie over and over, and visual stems can range from watching TV upside down to spinning objects and looking in the peripheral field of sight. Braden did all of these. Here is Braden lining up his toy cars, and he's lining up letters from an alphabet puzzle, but he kept Pixar. And that was the first time he spelled Pixar. In my hours researching about autism, causes, treatments, and controversies, I began to put Braden's puzzle together. I observed his various behaviors and tried to match his traits to causes. I asked myself, what's causing him to jump on the bed for hours without rest? How can I help him to be calmer? I found the relation to his diet and his hyperactivity. Like most parents, I started with removing sugars. It helped a little bit, but it was far from better. I asked myself, how can I help him get some sleep? He would not allow me to console him because he could not be still long enough. I began to realize that he actually could not control his movements. It was as if he were having muscle spasms, and we now know those to be maybe tiny seizures that he was having. I made the resolution to start from scratch with Braden's diet and nutrition. I knew that almost all children with autism have gastrointestinal problems. They are also severely malnourished because of the sensory issues that limit their food intake. I armed myself with the weapon of knowledge, and I gave my life a new purpose, the purpose of healing my son's gut, body, and brain. I decided that getting Braden to a point where he could potty train, dress, and feed himself would be a short-term goal. Giving him the chance to live an independent life is my only purpose on this earth. Thank you for watching. Next, we'll go on and we'll read about Braden's treatments and his recovery. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.
Subscribe!